And today is our Vivekachudamani day. So let's do the peace prayers first. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Bhuvah Swaha Tatsavitra Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Asto Ma Satgamya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya Mrityurma Amritam Gamya Om Sahna Bhavatu Sahna Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahi Om Shanti 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 Om. So we ended our last Saturday's class with verse number 87. From verse 87 to 91, Shankaracharya ji is giving us a complete description of this body. It's called a gross body or a sathul sharir. Okay, so he says this gross body is most offensive as it is composed of skin, flesh, blood vessels, fat, marrow, and bones, and also it is ever filled with urine and fecal matter. So that's where we ended our class. Now let's start with 88. पंचीकृतेभ्यो भूतेभ्यो स्थूलेभ्यो पूर्वकर्मणः सुमत उत्पन्नम इदं स्थूलम भोगायतनम आत्मनः अवस्था जाग्रह तस्य स्थूल अर्थ अनुभव योयता. So panchikrit, this word has come before also. That means the five-fold self-division and mutual combination. Panchikrit Bhya. Bhutebhya. 5 elements. You're all familiar with those 5 elements now. Earth, water, fire, air, space. 5 elements. Sathulebhya. From the gross elements. Those are called the gross elements. Bhoot Padarth. Purva Karmanaha. Past actions. Previous actions. Some Utpanam. Produced. Idam Sathulam. This gross body. Idam means this. Sathul is the gross body. Bhogaitanam. The instrument of enjoyment. Bhog. So it's an instrument. Tool. Atmanaha. Of the self. So who got it? Atma got it. Who is the owner of it? Atma is the owner of it. Avasthaha. State. Jagraha. Wakefulness. Like a Jagrat Avastha. Tasya means that Sathul Arth Anubhav. The experience of gross objects. Yata means by which. So Shankaracharya is saying, made up of the gross elements, formed by the combination of the subtle elements, and ordered by past actions. That means हमारे अपने कर्म, our own actions in the past, based on that. So that is also a factor in there. The kind of a body we have, healthy body, sick body, there is a reason behind it too. So made up of gross elements formed by the combination of the subtle elements and ordered by past actions. See, this Panchikrit is a combination of the subtle elements, okay, which is called Tanmatra. This gross body is the seat of experience for the self. So Jivatma is the one which enjoys or suffers because it's seated in there. The state in which it perceives gross objects is its waking condition. So we perceive all that in the waking condition. Waking condition is right now when Jagrata Avastha, when we can see everything, feel everything, we can talk. We are experiencing it in the waking Avastha. So we need this body. So this is Suthula Sharir he is talking about. But then again, he talked about the Panchika. And I'm sure you saw that diagram last time, which we showed you about the process of fivefold self-division and mutual combination. How these little elements, they get together, Panchikaran. So the five elements, they have gone through this process are the very material with which all gross bodies are made. Everybody's body. Everybody, whether it's a body of a tree or a body of an animal or a body of a human being, these five elements constitute this gross body. But then he just added in there that result of the actions done in the past. So in other words, sometimes we just blame God, blame the stars, especially when something is not going right. Over here, this Rishi is saying, based upon our own actions, our own karma, we have gotten a certain body. But the indweller of this body, he says, is the self, the Atma. Indweller of the body experiences his joys and sorrows only through the physical body. If you don't have a physical body, there's no joy or sorrow experienced. So the state in which the ego, making use of its physical body, comes in contact with the world of objects and it ekes out its joy and sorrow in the waking condition of the jiva. So we feel all that in the waking condition. Okay, Jagrata Avastha. So let's look at 89 now. So all these verses are about, we are familiar with this. We are familiar with the waking state. We are familiar with this body. We are familiar with these gross elements now. So in the next one, he says, Bahe indriye sathul padarth se vam strak chandan istrayadi vichitra rupam kroti jivaha swayam etad atmanah tasmat prashasti hi vepusho asya jagrehe. Bahe indriye. Bahe means external. Indriya means sense organs, external sense organs. There are internal sense organs too, which is called antakaran. These are external sense organs. Sathul padarth sevam, enjoyment of the gross objects. Okay, so this is like a simple Sanskrit you should know. Sathul, suksham. Okay. Strak chandan istriyadi. Strak means garlands. Chandan is the sandal paste. And istri means women. So garlands, sandal paste, women, etc. Vichitra rupam of an endless variety. Karoti does. Jivaha, the ego. Swayam by itself. Etad atmanaha, identifying with this. Tasmat means therefore, prashastihi, the eminence. Asya vapushaha, of this body. Jagrehe, in the waking state. So the individualized ego, identifying itself with this body, enjoys gross objects such as garlands, sandal paste, women, etc. Women, etc. over here means the relationships, okay, of an endless variety by means of the sense organs. So through sense organs, we enjoy all these objects. Therefore, this body has the greatest play in the waking state. So when self-identifying with a gross body, it expresses itself as the perceiver. When it feels as its perceiver, it recognizes the world of objects as being other than itself. Instead of oneness, we think these are the objects and these objects will give us the pleasure. Whether it's he says, he's giving the examples over here, garlands or sandal paste, something to smell, something to look at, or having pleasure out of them. The endless varieties of the objects, endless. All these objects, they cater to human beings for sense gratifications. So he's just giving us just an example over here when he mentions these three. So thus to the Jeev, the gross physical body is the vehicle. See, this is a vehicle. Through this vehicle, we accomplish all this. Because when a person is not conscious of the physical body, he cannot perceive the world of the objects around him. Instead of a person in a coma will not. When we are in a Jagrat Avastha, then we do. Even when we are sleeping, we are not getting in touch with the new objects. If there's some impressions in the mind, through the mind, we go through the dreams. But we are practically dead for everything around us when we are sleeping. So in a Jagrata Avastha, in the waking state, we have all these contacts. So the world of waking experiences is available to all of us. We are conscious of the physical body, and when we express ourselves through the sense organs, it's called a waking condition. Fullest expression of the gross body in a waking state. Okay, that's what he's trying to tell us. Let's move on to number 90. Sarvo api bahe sansaraha purushasya yad ashreha vidhi deham idam sthulam grihivad grihmedhinaha. Sarva. Sarv means all. Api means even. Bahe sansaraha, the external world. See, there's an internal world and there's an external world. So right now he's talking about the external world. Bahe sansar. Purushasya, of the person. Yad ashrayaha, dependent on whom. Yad ashraya, like a dependent means like a substratum, foundation, dependent. Vidhi, understand. Idam, deha idam sathulam. So sathul deha, that means the gross body. Idam means this. So deham idam sathulam, this gross body. Grihi vat. Grihi means a house, like a house. Grihi medhina, to the householder. Okay, so know this gross body to be the shelter for the individual to conduct all his dealings with the world outside. So whatever is happening outside, Effect of that is inside. So that's what he says. Know this gross body to be the shelter for the individual to conduct all his dealings with the world outside, just as a house is to a householder. A person dwells in the house, goes outside to do work, whether it's a business or a job or anything else, then returns back into the house. The same way, these senses, they deal with the world outside, then enjoyment or the suffering, it's inside. That's the point he's trying to make here. So he says, just like a householder will come back into the house. The same way, these senses, they retrieve back. Ego moves out of the physical body to contact the sense objects and returns to savor its joys and sometimes sorrows. All of that is inside, joys and sorrows resulting from sometimes conducive, sometimes unconducive environment. We see both of it. Dukh as well as sukh is not felt outside. It's always felt within ourselves. That's why in the same environment, some person can be extremely painful, the other person is not, because it's felt within. So they're always felt within, though indeed the objects are always outside. So mind has to go outside to contact the objects.
Yeah, you can take them all. They should be all, yeah, they're on the slide.
So the physical body is not only an instrument for experiencing the world outside, it's
They're
also
on the counter. You can put them all in that container.
but it is also a shelter for the experiencer to return to. So this is the point he's trying to make.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's look at next one, number 91. Sathulasya sambhav jara marana adi dharmaha. Sathalya adyo bahuvida shishuta adyavastaha varn ashram adi niyamaha bahuda amyaha sayu pujam man bahuman mukha visheshaha. Sthulasya, you know this word now, the gross body. Sambhav jara maran adi. Birth, decay, and death. Or birth, old age, and death. Jara is old age. But in the old age, there's a decaying has started. Natural decaying. Okay, Sambhav is the birth, origination. Dharma, essential properties, qualities. So, thalya adyaha. So, thalya, this word is a sathul, that means a fatness, excessive growth. So, fatness, etc. That is Sothalya Adya. Bahuvidha, different condition. Shishuta Adya Avastha. Childhood and such other states. Varan Ashram Adi Niyama. The rules of the caste and orders of life. Varan Ashram. Okay, like it, ashram means the different states, stages in life. Householder stage, schooling stage, retirement stage, those are the ashrams. Bahuda, many. Ameya, diseases. Puja Vaman Bahuman Mukha. Worship, dishonor, and honor, etc. Vishesha means distinctions. And there's a word in the third line, siyu. Siyu means happen. So all these things happen. So birth, decay, and death are the essential properties of the gross body. Essential. Anybody who's born will definitely, it will decay and then die. That's what we see. A plant grows, gets old, dies. With the animals, the same thing happens. With the human beings, we see it every day. So birth, decay, and death are the essential properties of the gross body. Fatness, etc., childhood, etc., are its different conditions. It has rules of caste and orders of life. Okay. See, caste really means there's, according to our mental capacity, there are teachers, there are business people, there are workers. Okay, those are the different kind of aptitudes people have. So that's what these varnashram means. So it has rules of caste and orders of life. It is subject to a variety of diseases. He's talking about the physical body. And it is this body that meets with the different kinds of treatment, such as worship, dishonor, and honor, etc. So when we honor somebody, most of the time we are trying to honor somebody's physical body. Put a sandal paste on them, put a garland on them. So in order to make the student to focus the entire attention on the physical body, Shankaracharya ji is enumerating these characteristics, various conditions, different rules of conduct, etc. He says this is all happening with this physical body. Okay, gross body, he calls it. There always will be a change. So change is the changeless characteristics. It will definitely change. Okay. We don't want it to change. Some good things happening, we don't want it to change, but this will change. Change will always happen. So that's the point he's trying to make. And again, the nature of the body is to express itself as a stout, lean, tall, or short. It's only the body. The human form goes through stages of growth, such as childhood, youth, old age. New dimensions to look at. Okay, so these are all, he's just making a different strokes for us to understand that this is a physical body. Now, in 92, he is further explaining with the organs of perceptions and actions. Buddhi, Indriyani, Shravan, Tvagakshihi, Granam cha Jihva, Vishe eva Bodhnath, Vak, Pani, Pada, Gudam, Apustatha, Karmindriyani, Pravanen Karmasu. Buddhi, Indriyani, the organs of knowledge. Buddhi means the knowledge. Right? Organ of knowledge is through the Buddhi. Shravanam, the ears. Tvak, skin. Akshi, the eyes. Granam, nose. Jihva, tongue, the sense of taste. Vishe avabodhanat, for gaining knowledge of the objects. Vishe bodh, okay. Vak, pani, padaha, the organs of speech, hands and legs. Gudam, the anus. Api means also upasthatha, the genital organ. Karmindriyani, organs of action. Pravanen, by their tendency. Karmasu, in actions. The ears, skin, eye, nose, and tongue are organs of knowledge. So that's why we call them sense organs. Gyanendriya. They help us to gain knowledge of objects. The organ of speech, hands, legs, the anus, and the genital organs are the organs of action, since they have a tendency for work. So he is just separately telling us the Gyanendriya and the Karamendriya. So 5 Karamendriya, 5 action organs, and 5 knowledge organs. So he is enumerating them, the different faculties of our personality. Okay, we should remember these. To perceive the stimuli reaching us and to respond them accordingly, we need all these. We need our Gyanendriya. Gyanendriya are the inlets. Through the Gyanendriya, the sense organs, the information goes in. The kind of information goes, then through action organs, the Karamendriya, the similar kind of actions will do. So outlet is definitely dependent upon the inlets. So we need to keep all these 10 in our mind. So inlets, they allow the stimuli to reach us, are called the organs of knowledge, and respond to them through our motor organs, which are called organs of action. Okay. So now 93 and 94, they go together. Inner instrument. You remember I told you earlier he is giving us the outer instrument, now the inner instrument. Bahya indriya, abhyantra indriya. Nigadhyate antahakarnam manodhi aham kritish chit chitam iti swavritti bhi manastu sankalp vikalp adi bhi buddhi padarth adhyavasday dharmatah. So this is number 93. Nigadhyate is called Antahakaranam as inner organ. Antahakaran. See, karan means organ. Antah inner. Man is the dhi. Man, mind. See, mana, mind. Dhi, intellect. Aham kriti, ego. Aham kriti, ego. I amness. Chittam is the chit, the deeper part of mind. Iti means thus, swavriti bhi, by their own functions. Again, man means mind, tu means verily. Manah tu. Sankalap vikalp. Sankalap vikalpana adi bhi, by its doubts and hesitations. Sankalap and vikalp. Buddhi is the intellect. Padartha adhyavasai dharmata, by its nature of determining the truth of objects. So it's like a intellectual apprehension. And the 94 is atra abhimanat aham iti ahankriti swarth anusandhan gunen chitam. So both of them together, they give us the inner instrument. So atra means here abhimanat, on account of identification. Abhiman. Ordinarily we call it a pride, the abhiman. Aham iti, I am, etc. Ahankriti, the ego. Swarth anusandhan gunen, from its function of remembering things. It's interested in swarth. Swarth anusandhan, then you are aware of it. Chitam, the chit. So the inner organs are called, according to their functions, as mind, intellect, ego, and chit. Man, buddhi, chit, ahankar. I'm sure most of you are familiar with that. Okay, so all together it's called inner organ, antakaran. So if somebody says, what is antakaran? Antakaran is man, buddhi, chit, ahankar. These are the inner instruments. From its doubts, see, mind from its doubts and hesitations, intellect from its function of determining the truth of thing. So sankalap vikalap happens in the mind. And determination happens with the buddhi. The ego in its identification with both these. So ego is the one says, I am going through sankalap vikalap, or I am deciding it. That's the ego. I amness. I am smart. No, I feel stupid. That's the ego. Identification, sense of I is ego. And chit, from its function of constantly illumining the things of its interest. Whatever it wants to do, because all of these memories are in the chit. So based upon the memories, it shows the interest. So in these two simple looking verses, he has given us a full definitions of these four. Man, buddhi, chit, ahankar. Very logically, what these different faculties on us, or different tools which are given to us, what do they really do? Otherwise, it's just one. It's just not a physical. It's a it's a subtle. That's why it's called a subtle body. Physician can dissect our body, will not be able to find it. It is so subtle. See, just like a Atma doesn't have a form or a shape or a color or a smell. The same thing, this is not, see, physical body, sure, we can look at it, can dissect it. But this, even though these rishis, they have given different names, it's not a physical body. It's a subtle body. So inner equipment has different names according to the functional differences. Functional. Okay. So thoughts are in the mind. Then intellect is willing, wishing, desiring, judging. That's all intellect. And it's not very difficult for us to pinpoint. And especially the ego. Me, mine, whenever we express, that's all ego. Without ego, we cannot function. So if somebody says, no, I want to get rid of my ego. No, purify the ego, know what the ego is. As long as we are in this housing of ours, ego will be there. But remember that this is just an identification with a certain personality of ours. Okay? So, in other words, we got to be aware of all this. Aware. Man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, or ahankar chit. They are the constituents of the inner equipment. And this inner equipment is the one which plays through the outer organs. So man works through this body. Man alone cannot do anything. Okay? I decide something to do something. Decision is made by the intellect, then action has to be done with the karamindriya. And we've been doing it all our life, we have been doing it. Okay. So play through the organs of perception and action. It makes it possible for us to live in this world. Okay. So now let's look at 5 prana. So we have a physical body, so Thul Sharir. Then we have a Suksham Sharir, Antakaran. Then we have a prana also. So 5 action organs, 5 sense organs, 4 parts of the Antakaran, and 5 prana. This is our wealth, guys. It's a wealth. Pran, Apan, Vyan, Udan, Saman. Bhavati asau pranaha swamev vriti bhed adhi kriti bhedat suvarna salil adivat. Since you are yoga students, serious yoga students, I'm sure all these terms are very familiar to you, but still I will go through individually. Pran, Apan, Vyan, Udan, Saman. These are technical terms. Bhavati becomes. Asau, this. Pran, vital force. Swayam itself, ev means alone. Vritti bhedat, due to the difference in functions. So according to the functionality, these different names are given to pran. Vikriti bhedat, due to the difference in modifications. Vikriti. Suvaran salil adivat, like gold, water, etc. Suvarna is the gold, salil means water. So he is giving an analogy over here. So one and the same pran becomes pran, apan, vyan, udan, and saman. So it's the same pran, but the names are given different. Okay, it's not that there's a different energy in the apan vayu and a vyan vayu. So one and the same pran becomes pran, apan, vyan, udan, and saman according to its functions and modifications, like gold, water, etc. So philosophical terminology, pran stands for the manifested life energy. When we perceive something, it's called pran. So functions such as perception, that's a pran. Excretion is called apan. Digestion is called saman. Circulation is called vyan. And thinking of thoughts is called udan. See the functionality of each and every one of them. So these different names.
Can you, Hershey, repeat one more time, please?
Yes, yes. Perception is pran. Excretion is apan. Digestion is saman. Circulation is vyan. And thinking of the thoughts is udan. Okay. So all these various names are given to one and the same vital energy. This is the point he's trying to make over here. So same energy, it's not there are 5 separate energies. Different names are given according to the function. So that's how we see this various modification. So functional names, in other words, you can just think that these are functional names for the same pran. Okay. See, just like he says gold and water, the same ocean water, the sea water, we call it a wave or a bubble or a froth. It's the same water. Water is not different. Or if we have so many different jewelry pieces made from the same gold, some are bangles and some are earrings and some are the chains and some are the anklets, but it's gold. The names are given. So the same way he says it's a vital energy according to the function. If you put it in the neck, we call it a chain. Put it in the ear, we call it a earring. But it's a gold essentially. Okay. So pran holds the gross and subtle together. That's another thing you got to remember. So the pranic layer of the personality, this is also a layer of the personality. Pranic layer of the personality is that which holds the gross physical body and the inner subtle body together. So the Thul Sharir and a Suksham Sharir, it's held together with the pranic body, this energy. So it is the pran that maintains the vital connection. Very intimate connection with the gross. And on the other hand, equally intimate relationship with the subtle. That's why the yogis, they say if you do the pranayam, your physical body will become healthy. And your inner instrument, which is the mind and the intellect and the chit, the ego, that all becomes better too. Pranayam. Very powerful way to keep this vehicle in good shape. And we do it only 10-15 minutes. Benefit is tremendous. That's why it won't be wrong to say that it's like a small input, the maximum output. Pranayam. So yoga is never complete without pranayam. If your yoga teacher does not teach you pranayam, ask your teacher to teach you pranayam. This is soul of yoga, pranayam. Okay? So some people shy away from it. No, please make enough time for this. Don't overdo it, but 10 to 15 minutes of pranayam is needed. Please. Okay? So now let's do one more and then we'll stop. And anybody who wants to sing today, please let me know. So now from verse 96 to 101, he's talking about the subtle body and its effects. See how beautifully this great teacher has opened up this for us. Otherwise, we are not familiar with this. We live in this body, but we really don't know. We don't have the intricate knowledge of it. Our body, we're going to be living in it for several more decades. We should know this. And we should consider this as a temple. Yogi always considers this body as a temple. Even though it's made out of these gross elements, but still it's a temple though, because why it's a temple? I live in it and I am part of God. That's why I'm sure most of you know this very popular saying, Deho Devalya Proktaha. Deha means this body, Devalya means a temple. This is my temple. I want to keep it pure, but I should know the doors of this temple. I should know what this temple is made up of. I should know how to use this temple. I should know how to keep it healthy, safe from all these weathers. Because this is my temple for this lifetime. So now let's look at number 96 and then we'll stop today's class. Vagadi panch, Shravanadi panch, Pranadi panch, Brahmukhani panch, Buddhyadi Vidyapich, Kam Karmani, Puryashtakam Suksham, Shriram Ahu, Vag Adi, speech, etc. Panch 5. Shravan Adi, ears, etc. Again, Panch means 5. Pran Adi, pran, etc. Panch 5. Bhra Mukhani, the space and other elements. See, abhra means space, mukh means these are like a different elements. Panch 5. Buddhi adi, the intellect, etc. Avidya, ignorance. Api means also, cha means and, kam karmani, desire and action. Kam is the desire, karm is the action. Puryashtakam, the 8 cities. Suksham shariram, a subtle body. Ahu, they say. The 5 organs of action. So this 5 means he is giving us only one, but he says there are 5 of them. 5 organs of action, such as speech, etc. Because he already mentioned in the previous verse what those organs of actions are. So now he just says there are 5 of them. And the 5 organs of perception, such as ears, etc. Right? So action organs and the sense organs. The 5 prans, which he just mentioned in the previous verse, 5 pran, udan, vyan, saman, vyan, right? The 5 elements starting with space. Space is the mukh of it. Okay, so main is it starts with the space. Space is the subtlest. Then it goes into the space, air, fire, water, earth. So 5. With the space along with the discriminative intellect, etc. And also ignorance, desire and action. These 8 cities together constitute the subtle body. So what is this 8 number over here? He's just giving like number 1 is he says 5 organs of action. Number 2 is so karam indriya, gyan indriya. Then pran, panch pran. Then the gross elements. And number 5 is the intellect. Number 6 is the ignorance of vidya. Number 7 is the desire, and number 8 is the karam. So don't get confused. So this is just like together he says these are the 8 things. So he is summing up all the factors that constitute the body.
Hershey, can you please repeat how it became 8?
Okay, the first one is karamindriya. And the second one is the sense organs, 5 organs of perception. Then 5 pran. So Gina just asked me a question. Isn't this a gross? Pran can be, some people say it is part of the gross body. Some people say it's part of the subtle body. Since it's in between, it can be either one of them.
Okay. But the sense organs are part of the subtle body too?
Yeah, sense organs are part of the subtle body. So over here, subtle really means that it's just like organs are gross, but the power behind organs is the subtle. Got it?
I understand. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then number 4 is the 5 elements, starting with space. Then number 5 is the discriminative intellect. He's talking about the buddhi. Buddhi adi. Buddhi adi means man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, all of it in there. Then he comes to the avidya, ignorance. Ignorance really means not knowing who you are. We are the Atma, part of God, and we have forgotten that. That is ignorance. Ignorance of our true nature. And then he says number 7 is the desire. Calm. And number 8 is the karam, action. Okay, got it, Raj? So these 8 cities together constitute this. We all know the ignorance generates desire.
But it's still confusing, Hershey, because like Gina said, action organs, sense organs, we consider them gross body, and he's kind of,
Yeah, no,
because they don't go with us. Subtle body
no,
leaves
they don't
with
go
us.
with us, but he is talking about the power behind those action organs. So he's not talking about the body itself. He's talking about the energy behind it. Okay,
Mhm.
so that's what he's mentioning over here. So he said, this is the city. Take care of this city.
So the energy behind this, all these organs and everything, it's the power.
Yeah. Okay. So he's not talking about the physical limbs.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just drawing our attention towards this whole beautiful city which we have. We live in this city.
Yes.
Okay. So, but I wanted to make a point over here that avidya, the ignorance, generates desire. And desires are expressed at the body level or the actions. Karam. So they are connected. Ignorance, desires, and action. They are very intricately connected. Okay. So these 8 factors are here, the 8 cities in their totality, our body. Okay. We enjoy through this, we suffer through this. Even this intellect of ours, human intellect conceives and plans various possibilities. Or even this ego of ours also. Confused ego can experience its unlimited true nature of perfection. We are part of God, but we think we are so limited. And that's where the desires erupt. We don't feel complete. We think by fulfilling the desires will become complete. And because of this ignorance, we just move further away from the truth. Okay, so what he's trying to do over here, before he talks about the Atma, he's explaining it to us. Where do you live right now? What is this? We need to think about it. We spend so much time, and we need to, the world, the relationships, where we live, that's fine. But there should be some time spent in this castle of ours also. Because through this castle, we do the actions. And based upon the actions, we even now also either we enjoy or we suffer. And we are creating our destiny also. Right now, we have gotten a body or where we were born, or predominantly whether we are living a happy life or not because of the past actions. But whatever we are doing now, some we are taking the effect of this in this life, but majority of it's going in the future. So that's why it's good to know, am I doing the right thing with this body or not? Use the intellect. Do I need to get involved into certain things where there's no reason to get involved? Sometimes simple things, we make it so complicated unnecessarily. And we create more karmas for ourselves. And who will have to wash away those karmic imprints? We will. Nobody else going to do it. No God or Devta or Guru is going to do it. We'll have to do it. So that's why we need to learn to live, enjoy this life, but with a full presence, full awareness. What are we doing? Okay, so 11:30. So anybody, any question? While you're thinking about the question, so let me do the Shanti part, and then if somebody wants to sing, that will be really nice. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Visheshyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much for coming.